Hello friends, welcome to my channel. In this video, we will talk about the stakeholder management. So as you become a project manager, you are assigned with leading a project. It can be a small or it can be a big project or a big program, right? And most of the times when you need to execute these projects or programs, you need to interact with multiple people, either from your own team, your own organization, or cross-functional teams, or outside, of your organization. Because very rarely, you find a project which you need to do within your own team. Most of the times, you have to go outside your team, outside your organization as well. So the stakeholder management in this specific cases where you need to work with multiple people across your organization or outside your organization plays a very important role. The stakeholder management plays a very important role here. So then what is the stakeholder management? Basically, it is managing the expectations of people who are having impact on your work, or having influence on your work. And similarly, the managing expectations of people who are impacted due to your work, and managing expectations of people who are working with you. So why do we need to do this stakeholder management? Because we need to get buy-in from those people to get their support. When you have to interact with multiple people across your organization or outside your organization, you need to get their buy-in. And you may need different resources from different people or different departments, be it funding, be it sponsorship, be it people, be it infrastructure, whatever it is, tools. So when you get a buy-in and when you manage your stakeholders effectively, you can get the resources and you can get the required support from them. And then it will also reduce the risks, because you are ensuring that everyone who is required to execute this project is engaged. And then because you are getting a buy-in from your stakeholders, the decision making also will become easier and people will support you. And sometimes they will help you in making decisions. And whenever you get into any issues, it is easy to escalate to them to get support, required support. Overall, when you get the buy-in from your stakeholders and when you manage your stakeholders effectively, the entire project or a program will be executed in a smooth manner to meet the timelines, budget, whatever it is. Not only this, you will also build relations with the people, and that will help you in the longer run. So you can get even the long-term support also. So in short, what is stakeholder management is managing expectations of your stakeholders effectively to get their support. So we will look at what are the steps involved in stakeholder management. Basically, there are 4 steps: stakeholder identification, stakeholder analysis, stakeholder management plan, stakeholder engagement. So we will look each of these steps in detail. So when you say stakeholder identification, you need to identify who are all the people with whom you need to interact, whether it can be internal stakeholders or can be external stakeholders. You need to identify. The internal stakeholders can be anybody within your organization who is having influence on your project and who is having interest in your project. Can be your team members, your manager, leadership team, the sponsors, cross-functional teams, your HR department, your finance department, whoever it is within your organization. When it comes to the external stakeholders, it is your customers, your regulatory bodies, your shareholders, end users, your suppliers, partners, right? So once you identify different groups who are having influence on your project or who are impacted because of your project and who are having interest in this project, you need to identify who are all those key people and who are the decision makers in those groups. That is what is called identifying the stakeholders. Once you identify the stakeholders, you need to do a stakeholder analysis. This is a very crucial step in stakeholder management. So what is stakeholder analysis? You need to understand for each of these groups whom you have identified as the stakeholders, what is their influence on your project? What is their interest in your project? So we can use a tool called power interest mapping or influence interest mapping. And we can find it out. So we will discuss about the tool little later. You need to understand what are the needs, motivations, expectations of your stakeholders and whether they're aligned with your project or not, right? Because we need to get a buy-in from them. So for doing this, we can use a tool called empathy mapping. And sometimes what happens is some of the stakeholders may not be aligned because of various reasons. And it may not be possible for you to influence them. Then you need to understand who else can influence them. Right? Because without influencing them to get the buy-in, you cannot start the project because they may object it. So you need to understand who can help you by doing a relationship network mapping. And then you need to understand the preferences of various stakeholders. What is the engagement preference? What is the communication preference? We'll use another tool called preference mapping. So in this video, because of short time, I'm not talking about these tools, but in the next video, I will talk about these tools. So once you complete the stakeholder analysis, then you need to do a stakeholder management plan. So what is the stakeholder management plan? This is nothing but based on your identification of stakeholders and based on your stakeholder analysis, you need to come up with a plan. For each and every individual stakeholder, you need to create a row in this kind of template. I'm just giving you a template, right? So there you need to identify who is your stakeholder, what is his or her role, what is the influence they are having, whether they are having high influence or medium influence or low influence. Similarly, what is their interest, high, medium, low. What is their motivation, right? Are they gaining financial benefits because of your project? Or is it a competing priority for them? Or are they looking at the brand value, increasing brand value because of your project? Or are they looking at getting recognition? Or they are looking at more of a complying to the regulatory bodies? And then you need to look at what is their alignment? Whether are they supporting you, are they neutral, or are they opposing your proposal or project? Or sometimes the stakeholders may not be even aware of something is going on like this. And then based on your engagement preferences, you need to write down what is the frequency this particular stakeholder is looking for. Is it a daily, weekly, fortnightly, quarterly, monthly, whatever it is. But at least you need to engage every stakeholder on a quarterly basis minimum. That is a bare minimum. And some of the people who are having high influence and high interest, you may need to have more frequent touch points. And then communication mode and content, again, based on the preference mapping, we need to understand whether stakeholders would like to meet us in person, or they want to have an audio or a video call, or whether they want to get these status updates or whatever it is in the email, or they want to have a group meeting, or they want to have one-on-one meeting. Similarly, in terms of the contents, what are they looking for? Are they looking for just status updates, or are they interested more in understanding risks and support you? Or are they looking for what are the issues in the project so that they can better support you? Or whether they are interested only in escalations and how to address that. Some people may be interested in achievements of your team. Some people may be interested in, okay, you talk to me whenever you need a support in bottlenecks. So according to the stakeholder analysis, we need to create this stakeholder management plan, because this is very important step where you need to start executing. Before you need to start executing, you need to create this stakeholder management. Once you are ready with this, then you can start engaging your stakeholders. And some of the tips for stakeholder engagement is, first is identify and engage the stakeholder as early as possible. Very, very important, because you need to get buy-in. So you need to identify them as early as possible. Right? You can use the brainstorming within your organization, across, outside your organization, to get that key stakeholders list. And then when you are approaching any stakeholder, ensure that you are establishing what is in it for me, for that particular stakeholder. Right? When you identify what is the role that person is playing, you can establish what is in it for me. Okay, so when you say that I'm doing this project, you need to tell them what are the benefits you are offering for that particular stakeholder, and then get the buy-in. And then throughout the execution, you need to build a good rapport and maintain that rapport, and continuously engage them with the stakeholders. And very importantly, you need to create a mechanism to get their inputs and feedback throughout the program, throughout the project, because you need to understand how your customers are feeling about the progress, whether they can offer any suggestions, whether they have any feedback, whether good or bad, and then whether they can offer any inputs. And then you need to also incorporate those feedback and tell them that, and show them, saying that this is what we are doing. And whenever any risks you are identifying, highlight them upfront, and then go with potential mitigation or contingency measures, or you can ask suggestions from your stakeholders and inform them any issues. When you encounter any issues or bottlenecks, as soon as you find out, you please inform them so that they can provide you the support. Don't wait until the last minute. Don't wait. The issue becomes bigger. And be honest, and do not hide any information with all the stakeholders. You need to be transparent, open, and do not hide any information, because once they find that you are hiding some information, you will lose their support, and then that may become a problem for your meeting timelines or execution of the project successfully. So as per their preferences, provide them updates. And finally, whenever somebody is supporting, don't give them appropriate credit. Right? Don't try to steal the credit from them. They may not like. So if you look at the key points, the communication and continuous engagement are the key for managing your stakeholders' expectations effectively. When you can do that, when you can manage your manage the expectations of your stakeholders effectively, you will be able to execute the projects and the program smoothly and successfully. Okay, so stay tuned for more. In the next video, we will talk about the stakeholder analysis, and we will talk about various tools which we can use. Until then, please take care. Thanks for watching this video.